Do you want to be the player that goes out to the court and you have a secret weapon? You step up to the baseline, and what do? You absolutely drop a bomb on your opponent. Well, this is the hopes of most players, but it's not the reality. And so in this video, I'm going to show you one of the big key components to making sure that you can start dropping more bombs on your opponent. So let's get started. So why is the serve so difficult to absolutely drop bombs? Well, there's a lot of key components to making sure it works. And there's not just one component that's going to absolutely be a game changer. But I'm only going to focus on one and give you the other things as an overall menu to what we're going to do here. So component number one is you need to be able to use your legs. And what we mean by this is we need to be able to load our legs so we can push our weight up. The reason why this is important is because the serve, just like every other stroke, uses our legs to push the ground force, and we want to translate that force all the way up to the ball. It's the kinetic chain. And so the key component of using our legs is how we load. And I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I want to definitely put a shout out to, if you're really interested in learning all the core components to the serve, go and check out Dr. Mark Kovacs. I'll leave a link in the description. His website, he also has this paper called the 8-Stage Model of Serving, which was really helpful in understanding the key components to a serve. So if you really want to dive in deep, because I'm not going to cover everything in this particular video, that's the place to go. But the first thing you want to know about loading is we want to start thinking about loading on our back leg. And I know sometimes if you watch a lot of other videos of controversy, should I load my front leg or back leg? I definitely think it's the back leg, and I think it's, he says it's 60-40, and I agree. Now here's the thing, I do see players where it looks like almost they're like 50-50, and they might be using possibly both legs to do it, and that's totally fine too, but I definitely have been tinkering with the serve, and I put on probably about another 10 to 15 miles an hour to my serve, which is pretty big, just by starting to understand how to load my back leg. And the things he suggested is that if you're loading, we want to start thinking about loading down and back so we can go up and forward, and that's hugely important. The next thing that I think is really important is making sure you have the right grip. The grip is so crucial because it's going to set your racket up to have the right contact. And what I mean by this, if you have like an Eastern type grip, when you start to go up, your racket strings are going to be presented up, meaning the racket face is going to be going up, which means you're going to send a lot more balls long. We don't want that. We need a continental grip. Sometimes you can fudge over to a soft Eastern really soft Eastern forehand grip, not a strong. And what I mean by that is if you take your continental and go slide just a little bit over, or even a Eastern backhand grip where we slide over the other way. So notice that the continental is kind of like in between. The Eastern going over to the Eastern side will probably give you a little bit more power. But if you go too Eastern, it's going to start sending the ball long. And then the Eastern backhand is going to actually create a lot more spin. So just keep that in mind. The next thing is we want to start focusing on shoulder over shoulder movement. And so it's not a rotational action. So I'm not rotating in the court. I'm having my shoulder come over the other shoulder. I feel like it's like those Richard Simmons old school, like we're doing those exercises. If you did those, it's going to totally help you on your serve. So keep it in mind. But we want to start thinking my shoulder, this shoulder, and this shoulder. Well, this shoulder is going to start coming over this shoulder to hit my serve. So the major part we're going to focus on today is how we can start pronating, but not only that, having shoulder rotation. And this is a huge part of how to get more power in your serve. If you watch the pros, you see a couple key things that keep happening. Is that the edge goes up, they make contact, but here's the kind of freaky thing you see a lot of times, is that the racket extends all the way over here. When you watch most recreational players, even if they have the edge going up, they make contact and the racket just does this. Why do I think this makes or adds so much power? It's because it allows the racket to work itself through the ball. And here's what I mean. If I take my racket like this and I'm pulling it this way, and this is how a lot of players are serving, you can see how the racket head only travels as fast as my wrist, just like this, okay? But now, if I start to pronate and do internal rotation, now the racket head goes faster, meaning that here before, here after, look at which one is moving the racket faster. So now that I've taken all this energy from the ground, shifted it all the way up to my hand, I'm letting it like almost like a whip come out. Another way of thinking about it is a football quarterback. When you watch a good quarterback throw, or even a baseball player throw, no one throws like this, okay? No one throws a ball like this. What you'll see is this internal rotation and pronation release. It's the exact same thing. Now, how we're going to do this is really, really important because I want you to make sure you understand that this isn't everything. So a lot of players might go out and hear this and go, I'm just gonna focus on doing this as hard as possible. And they put a lot of stress on their shoulder and their forearm and the wrist. We don't want that. What should happen is you take energy and this whole thing comes up from the ground and flows through your hand, okay? It flows through your hand, okay? So you can see me using the ground force here and having it come through my hand compared to this. This puts a lot of stress on just the shoulder joint, but we still want to work on this because this is probably one of the biggest areas where a lot of recreational players are not doing and maxing out, reaching their potential. And so the very first thing I want you to do is first hold the racket just like this. And what we want to do is focus on pronation and supination. So basically what that means is my arm going down this way, pronation, supination. Okay, so think of like, I almost think about if you're a kid and you watch those games where it was like Mortal Kombat and they're like, finish him. Okay, so just do a couple reps like this. You're finishing him. It's done. It's over. Okay, from here, grab your racket and do the exact same thing. So right now, we're really focusing on pronation and supination. And what I now want you to do is add in the shoulder internal rotation. So we're gonna go here, pronation, and then I want you to take your shoulder and stretch it down more. So you can see almost like my elbow, because I could just do this mostly with the pronation, but you see it start to incorporate the shoulder. I want you to incorporate the shoulder. Now, depending on your range of motion in your shoulder, do not force this so much that you feel super tight. Try to make it as relaxed as possible, okay? Relaxed as possible. Now when we grab the racket, we want to do the exact same thing. So you see this action happening. Another great way of doing this, a lot of times I'll have the racket and I just want this action. So I'll hit the ball or have the racket like this and I slightly pull down, but you can see how I'm just doing this action right here. So I'm really focused on the pronation and the internal rotation. Pronation and internal rotation. And what this is doing is basically what's going to start happening above my head. So now when we go to the court, here's what I want you to do. It's really just getting used to this. Don't just go out and haul off and hit a serve because you'll probably hit it flat and crazy. But I want you to start off with your racket up. Now, if you have any issues as far as your racket drop, it's really important to understand that your racket drop is going to come from making sure you're in this nice strong position, this L shape, somewhere around here. And then your chest is going to open up. By my chest opening up, it starts to send the butt of the racket up. The arm will slightly move back a little bit, and the combination of these two is my upper chest, not my back, but my upper chest here, moving up. You can see how it readjusts the butt of the racket. So if my upper chest moves up here, it puts my arm or the butt of the racket in a position to go up. We're not going to go into a lot of detail there, but just a couple things to make sure we got it. So from here, all I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do my swing, and I'm going to come around and making sure that my racket is finishing this way. So you can see it, edge leads, contact this way. Edge leads, and I want you to make sure when you do this, even though we're segmenting it, relax, okay? I don't want you to put a lot of shoulder, okay? Or a lot of stress on your shoulder. So we want this nice and smooth, okay? Couple times, and the drill I want you to do now is called a spike. So all I'm gonna do is start here, I'm gonna toss the ball and spike. Now look where my racket's winding up. Tossing and spike. And you can really see how high that ball is going, how much acceleration, actually just went over the fence, but how much acceleration. So what I'm doing is I'm tossing it and spiking the ball down. By spiking the ball down and making sure I'm doing the exact same motion I would do above my head. This is a great drill. Now, here's the thing. If you are not familiar with this action, you're trying to do the spike, do not do it hard. Quick story, I was working with a kid to help them with this and they were spiking the ball. He spiked the ball, hit, took his hat off. You're adding a lot of acceleration to the racket. And so if you don't have the control, what I recommend is you just really calmly go up, spike. And you can see where my racket's finishing. Up, spike, okay? Up, spike. And as I relax, even if I don't try that hard, spike. You can see how much power can be applied to the ball. Where players make mistake is they're not used to this, and this is what they'll do. They'll go, and you can see I didn't pronate there. And they have to try harder. There's a lot more effort and a lot less return. And so really feel comfortable that after a while, if you feel comfortable spiking like this, and notice where my racket's going, you can start slowly increasing the amount of force you add and the relaxation to making sure that you get that pop. From here, we want to start taking it to a serve. So I'm going to go ahead and start here and just do a couple imaginary spikes in the air. So I'm going spike. So it's almost, if you think about it, we've been spiking down. I want you to pretend like you're spiking the ball forward. So don't even worry about where the ball goes for first couple. I'm just going spike, okay? And I'll relax, spike. And you notice how I'm not even worrying about where the ball's going. I'm just spiking the ball to get used to the action. Couple more. Spike, spike. And then what we want to start doing is adjusting our path and racket face. So meaning that wherever the racket face looks at contact, that's where this ball is going to go. The path that I create going through or having my racket go up to the ball is going to create the spin. And so what I'm going to start doing is swinging more left to right as I start spiking the ball and making sure that at contact, my racket's going to be looking at my target. So if I do it this way, you can start seeing how the ball's getting closer to my target. But it all stems from I have to get the spike going. So again, here, you can see already I'm very casually hitting. Need to go up a little bit more. Casually hitting, and I'm getting a lot more power on my serve. Okay, up, up, okay, up. So very casual there, nothing tight, nothing muscle. It has to be loose, it has to be loose. Now, once you get this, that's the makings of everything you want. Now, what I encourage you to do, or make sure you don't do, is to go up and go like, woo, I'm hitting it bigger. I need to hit it even bigger just using my arm. What we now want to start doing is start using what we talked about, which is the rest of my body, where I'm going to load back and down and go. You can really see how loading back. I'm using my legs now, and I'm getting so much more pace because it's all working together. It's not just my arm doing it by itself. Yes, my arm's a huge component of it, but I'm using the ground force, sending it up through my legs by loading down, shifting up, and then taking all that energy and going through my arm and releasing it through the ball. And that's how you can start adding 10 to 15 more miles an hour to your serve. So I hope this video is useful, but there's one more thing you gotta have, because if you have a serve like that, it's not done. Because what if it comes back? And this is what makes Roger Federer and so many players so good. They have a serve plus one, meaning they serve a great ball and they start looking for the next ball. And that next ball should be a forehand. So if you want to know more about the 6 forehands you need to understand to hit to make sure you can capitalize on hitting a serve plus one, watch this video.